everyone, and welcome to our special episode of our podcast RINI. As you know, in these episodes, we talk and discuss with our partners, friends, and stakeholders about issues that empower youth. In this episode, we are today at the Regional Youth Cooperation Office, a solid partner and friend of the National Youth Congress of Albania. And without further ado, I would like to start our conversation with Denis Piplaš, Deputy Secretary General of RYCO. Hi Denis, and nice to meet you.
Hello Dea, I'm very happy to be part of the podcast and I'm looking forward to the conversation. And as you said, RYCO and the National Youth Congress are really solid and strong partners. And I'm happy that in this podcast we will speak a little bit about it, but also about other issues connected to young people in the Western Balkans.
Thank you, Denis, for taking your time to be with us today. And I would like to start our conversation about your day-to-day life here in Albania. It's now a couple of years that you live in Albania and you exercise your role as Deputy Secretary General of RYCO. What can you share with us? What are your day-to-day activities? How does your life feel and look like in Albania?
It's already roughly 2.5 years that I'm living in Albania. Almost it will be soon 3 years. And I'm really calling this place my second home. So I really feel good in Albania. I feel good working for the Regional Youth Cooperation Office, which is an international organization that empowers and supports the mobility of young people in the region of the Western Balkans. And this is also something that I'm not just professionally really engaged with, but also I really believe in it on a personal level. Of course, as Deputy Secretary General of an international organization, the day is quite diverse, I would say, because we're quite a big institution now. We're roughly almost 45 people at this point. Being the Deputy Secretary General means that you have a kind of a political role on some level, where you spend your day with a lot of meetings with partners, stakeholders, ministries, civil society organizations, and so on. And then there is a part of the day where you focus more on the internal dynamics within the organization, where you try to monitor and support the different units, from legal to communication to different programs and projects. And then the day, I can say, fills up quite quickly with obligations. But anyways, it's for a good mission and for good work that we're conducting in the Regional Youth Cooperation Office. So I can say that my move to Albania to work for RYCO was really a good one after reflecting on it after some time.
I'm glad to hear that. And in what you shared with us about your day-to-day activities, work and mission here in Albania, we hear the word youth. So it's always about youth. And it's now quite a long time that you have been working with young people, not only in Albania, but you also get to know young people from the region. What is an impression that you can share with us from the energy you get from young people here in Albania and in the Western Balkan region?
I mean, of course, as you rightly said, when young people are the center of your work, you have the opportunity and really the privilege to meet quite a lot of extremely talented, creative, ambitious, interesting young people in Albania, but also within the region. I think where the little difference is between Albania and the region is that in Albania you can really feel and see that the average age of the population is quite young or quite low when compared to the maybe other parts of the region, and you see that on an everyday basis. So you see it when you walk in the street, you see it when you were in the shopping mall, in the supermarket. So you see there's quite a lot of young people, and then automatically you feel perhaps that there is a bit more energy, a bit more optimism. Working with civil society here in Albania, working with youth activists, with community leaders that are young people, you see that they have quite an ambitious agenda for Albania, that they're ready to shape this society, that they're ready to take over difficult and challenging tasks in the future, not just in the future, but also in the present. So this is really the positive side. When it comes to the perhaps other direction, a bit more negative, is that you feel in Albania, but also within the region, that young people have quite similar problems or challenges. They relate mainly to employment, education. They have a feeling that perhaps the healthcare or the social system is not protecting them enough. And then these factors influence their wish to perhaps leave Albania and the region and to go abroad. So there's similar elements, but there's also elements that are quite particular for Albania as a society.
Thanks for giving us your input and your insight on how you perceive young people in general in Albania and in the region. And there's one special question, we like to call it, that we ask our guests in this part of the episodes, which is, if you look back at your young years, what is a lesson that you know now, but that you prefer knowing back then, and that you can share as reflection or your lesson learned from your experience with our young people?
I still kind of consider myself at least close to the young age, but anyways, if you reflect from maybe 10-15 years ago, while I was in high school or in university, I think there was one thing that I would like to change, is to be more outspoken from the very beginning. So I think when I just started being active in civil society or in student bodies, I always had kind of the feeling that it should be the older ones that dictate the tone or the pace of the conversation, of the narrative that we're discussing about. And within the years, I realized that this has been perhaps a wrong approach from my side, because at that moment you always think, okay, there's someone who has more experience, who you're still in the age where you need to grow and develop and so on. And what I realized within the years is that growth and development is a lifelong process. So it doesn't depend on your age, and young people should feel entitled and should be entitled to participate in all conversations on an equal footing, to be sitting at the table, and not just when the discussion is about youth issues, how we like to call them, but really on all societal elements. There should be a place of young people at the table, and they should be empowered to really take a leading role in that regard.
And you mentioned before that young people in the Western Balkans region share the same worries, same hopes and dreams, and the same challenges. What do you think connects them the most? And throughout your work with RYCO, how do you envision a more connected Western Balkan region when it comes to youth cooperation?
I mean, also on a personal level, I think when we go abroad, people from the Western Balkans, we kind of always like to stick to each other. I take my personal example. When I went to study in Lithuania, the person I was hanging out the most was a colleague from Novi Sad. When I went then to study to Belgium, my closest friend was a colleague from Tirana. So we do have in the Western Balkans this, I would say, undeniable togetherness when it comes to sharing a same space, sharing a same cultural space. And people feel that wherever they are. When it comes to then a regional approach, we're obviously, even in this context of the European integration, seen as one big group, as the Western Balkans. I mean, at the end of the day, the Western Balkans was an invented political term rather than a geographic one, which also shows that we are seen, again, as I say, as one grouping. When it comes to the young people in the region, I mentioned it briefly before, they do feel that they have the similar problems, the similar challenges throughout the region. Of course, what we try to do in RYCO is really to offer to young people these mobility opportunities so that they are able to travel from one place to another, to meet their peers, and on that way break prejudices, learn something about other young people from the region, learn something about their culture, their city, their town, their habits. and hence feel that there is more commonality between them. When we look at the results of some of RYCO's programs, because we, of course, like a good public institution, after each activity we do a survey and we ask the participants what they thought about the program or the activity that they were participating in. It comes that almost 95% of them say that a regional exchange was something that they saw as positive. We really feel that there is an added value when it comes to regional cooperation of young people, and that this experience that they're having helps them not just break prejudice and change their view about the other, but it also teaches them skills that are very important for their future. And those skills can be also quite professional, but can be also then more, let's say, on a value basis or more emotional.
That's quite promising facts and figures. So I think that also gives you a better drive and motivation to continue building up upon the work that you are doing in the region. And mobility, as you mentioned, is the key word for RYCO's mission, I believe. But what are some plans of the year ahead that you can share with us? Where is RYCO going to focus now, mostly in regional youth cooperation? Any particular project that can come up as a teaser here or that you can share with us?
Yeah, sure. I mean, we are running quite a big initiative on exchange of high schools in the region. As you know, there has been obviously exchanges, and high schools have been participating before RYCO in different activities, and where students were exchanged. But with our initiative that we call Super Schools, we have for the first time a really systematic and comprehensive approach where we also cooperate with the ministries that are in charge for education on one hand and youth on the other, and where we have their backing to go and conduct these exchanges between the schools. We just finished last year our first cycle, and this year we're entering our second cycle with 100 schools participating, and you have the most diverse participation. So you would have a school from Subotica, which is in the very north of Serbia, almost at the border with Hungary, exchanging with a school that is from Saranda at the very south of Albania. So, you have the whole region basically covered through these exchanges. So we're investing quite a lot of our energy, quite a lot of our hope in that project. Also because the feedback that we're getting is extremely good. So the young people or the students are very happy with the mobility opportunities that they're getting. The teachers are also happy because they cooperate. So two teachers from the two schools are always cooperating with each other, preparing the program for the students, participating in the exchange themselves. So it has also this added value for the teachers. So this is a bit of big project that we're running, but we're also working on many other initiatives, always in the background of this, what you said, mobility, and through mobility to reach reconciliation between the societies in the Western Balkans. And then we focus thematically on different areas, be it young social entrepreneurs, where we support them to develop their social business ideas, be it with volunteers that we offer for them the opportunity to spend some time in another city, in another town, volunteer on festivals, different programs, civil society organizations, but then also quite specific initiatives that we do with, for example, student bodies, universities, and so on.
Mm-hmm. And while you work on such different and a variety of areas that impact young people in the Western Balkans, there is also the EU integration process that impacts your work, as RYCO was also born out of the Berlin process. But how do you see, as you as Denis, but also you as Denis, the RYCO's Deputy Secretary General, how do you see the work you are doing fitting the EU integration agenda? How does it help young people connect and share more also with other European peers? And how do you see this whole process being unfolded in our countries?
Yes, I mean, European integration is obviously a huge topic, and we as RYCO, we try to positively influence and also promote this process of European integration. Why? Because so there's the notion that the European Union is a peace project. Of course, it has its extremely economic and now very operational elements, but it was started as a peace project. And we want to also really cherish this notion that RYCO is also a peace project for the Western Balkans. So by working with young people, by bringing them together, we reduce the possibility that we another time go through horrible periods like we had here in the 90s. When we do research and we speak with young people, we see that they are the most pro-European part of the society. So young people are overwhelmingly pro-European, and they support this EU integration process of the region. Now, unfortunately, also quite a big part of the young people sees the European integration process as an opportunity to migrate and to start maybe a new life somewhere else. So this is something that we need to, not just as RYCO, but also as a broader societies need to see how we can address that. In RYCO, we try to address it obviously through some of our programs. But of course, even when we look back at the history of European integration, and we think about, for example, the Erasmus program, we see what is the big benefit that youth exchange can bring to a certain space. I mean, in the case of Erasmus, it was to the wider European continent or the European Union, where people still nowadays say that Erasmus program was perhaps the most successful policy, so most successful program that the EU has offered. Why? Because simply it gave an opportunity to millions of students to travel within Europe, create long-lasting friendships and memories from this exchange. And this helped them also, not just in their studies, but also in their professional life, it developed their personal lives and so on. So this strength of youth exchange is really also a backbone of the European idea. We saw that also in the successful youth exchange programs that were running between France and Germany, where France and Germany as two strongest economies and two countries that are really the backbone of the European engine, that for that engine to work, it was necessary for the young people of Germany and France to start cooperating, and they did it very successfully through the Franco-German Youth Office, which is basically something that RYCO was based on as well.
And from what I hear from our conversation, young people are eager to grab these opportunities, and they look forward to have mobility programs, but also other exchanges that empower them and make them learn about new issues that connect them in the region, but also with other European peers. As we are coming closer to the end of our interview, what do you think are some of the highest achievements of RYCO that you are proud of in your work?
I mean, definitely the fact that roughly a bit less than 35,000 young people have been reached through our activities. It's a big success. I think RYCO's existence in itself is a major achievement of the civil society that works with young people, because prior to RYCO being established, it was mainly on the shoulders of the civil society to organize different mobility and exchange programs for young people. And civil society has been pushing for almost 20 years to have a permanent structure that will be also recognized or established by the governments. And finally, within the context of the Berlin process, this happened, and RYCO, Regional Youth Cooperation Office, was established. And then in this roughly now 6 years that we're operating, as I said, reaching 35,000 young people is, we believe, quite a serious figure. Obviously, there is quite a lot of things still to be done. because if the estimate is that in the region we have roughly between 4 to 5 million young people and we have reached just 35,000, it means that we have a still long way to go, but then it means also that it offers quite a lot of opportunities for us to develop new, more interesting programs and projects and initiatives that young people can participate on. Of course, we are also quite proud on the partnerships that we have created within this period. And of course, I mean, we're speaking here with you from the National Youth Congress. It's very important for RYCO to have constant and good partnership and communication with the youth umbrella organizations within the whole region. And this is something that we're quite proud of, and because we believe that only when we join forces together that we can really be successful in our mission.
Thank you, Denis, for your inputs and also for mentioning the cooperation with the National Youth Congress, because while you were talking about how you cooperate with the civil society and how the burden of advancing regional cooperation was brought to civil society, but now RYCO acts as the facilitator and cooperates with umbrella youth organizations in the region, is a crucial point to make, and also to reflect on how we can further on join forces to bring new innovative programs and activities where we can attract young people. And now, before we end our conversation, I would like to have one message from you and one advice that you can make to young people. But before that, I would also like to hear something personal about Albania. So what you enjoy the most here, what do you like the most, some funny story that you have experienced, or anything that you can like to share with us.
I mean, as I said at the beginning, this is now really my second home, and there have been, now I created also life and personal memories here in Albania. But one funny thing that I can think about now is that I was very puzzled when I just moved to Tirana. It was July 2020, still COVID period, but extremely warm, as you know, July in Tirana. And one of the colleagues here in RYCO was helping me with my documents and papers. And so you just arrive, you're in a new city, new environment, and you just do small talk with the colleague. And what was funny for me was the movements with the head that Albanians do. So I had trouble understanding that this means yes, and that this means maybe, and that this means sometimes no. So this took quite a while for me to...
I hope you are used with it now.
Now I'm doing it myself. When I go back to Bosnia, people are puzzled with me.
That's
so,
a nice
yes.
memory to hear from you.
Yes. So, but anyways, I'm joking. So many beautiful memories that we have created with RYCO also. And I think Albania is really a magnificent place. Just like the rest of the region, we're really very, I would say, spoiled when it comes to really natural beauties and landscapes that we're having here in the region. Food, very much so.
That's typical in all the region.
Yes. So really Albania is a pearl, but also the whole region in that regard. And of course we need to cherish that and to of course work also on the things that we can improve, and the already good ones we can just protect.
And to conclude our conversation, what would be one message that you could share with young people for their empowerment and strong activism in society, if we could call it that way?
Well, yes, I mean, I can just call on young people to stay active, to believe in the future of the region, to also support institutions such as the National Youth Congress or like the Regional Youth Cooperation Office, because we're really offering you interesting programs that will improve your skills, programs that will help you get to know other people and to have life-changing experiences that you can only benefit from. So this would be my message for the end. and I hope that we can do much more together in the future. And I want to really thank the National Youth Congress for all the amazing work that you have been doing, that I am following as not just RYCO Deputy Secretary General, but also as now a resident of Tirana, someone who lives here. I really think that with the Tirana European Youth Capital title, this has set really some standards, and we're happy that we were part of it. And I think in this context, the cooperation, when you have a good cooperation between institutions, and I here mean also civil society, local governments, line ministries, youth civil society sector, that this is really the key how to bring things forward.
Thank you, Denis, so much. I'd also like to thank you for sharing your time with us, your inputs, and reflecting on your experiences here in Albania with us. Thanks as well for being a solid partner and friend of the National Youth Congress. I look forward to meet you and catch up with you further on our other activities and programs that we'll jointly implement.
Definitely. I'll be happy to do so. And yeah, sure, we stay in touch. If someone has any question, I think can reach out to us anytime.
So we are coming to the end of our podcast for today. I invite you to follow us on social media, keep track on what's coming next, and see you on the next episode of RINI.